Hey everyone, welcome to Automatic Reviews. I am Mark, and today I have a very interesting and special review, I think, of a watch which is incredible. I'm going to start off right from the top. I'm going to tell you this is an incredible watch. It is the Christopher Ward C65 Retro Diver, and you're going to see it's really good. So before I get started with that, I just will encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Automatic Reviews, and I'm also going to encourage you to subscribe here so you can see future content. And there's a lot coming. So, get on board. And but let's just jump in straight, let's dive into this review. I'm going to put on my swimming, I was going to say, I was legitimately going to say put on my swimming outfit. I don't know. That's like from like the 1930s or something. Get on your swimming outfits, folks. Okay, so onto the specs. This watch measures 41 millimeters diagonally, and it's 44.4 millimeters, including the crown. Lug to lug, it's 47 millimeters, and lug to lug factoring in the end links when paired with the bracelet. There's a little overhang at the end of the end link. It ends up being 50 millimeters. The watch is a svelte 11.5 millimeters thick, very thin watch. It weighs 142 grams on the bracelet adjusted to my 7-inch wrist, so not entirely very heavy. The etched crown is push-pull and measures 6.9 millimeters in diameter. Between the lugs, it's 22 millimeters and is compatible with a wide variety of straps. The case is made from 316L stainless steel and features a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces, very expertly done. Covering the matte green dial face outfitted with inset baton markers is a box sapphire crystal with AR coating applied. The screw-down case back is deep stamped. This unit actually is shipped on this leather-lined canvas strap with quick release tabs, but it is also available on this bracelet, which I did purchase separately, but for the purposes of this review, I'll mostly be reviewing this piece as though I'd purchased the bracelet model, as that's an existent option, and it's the configuration I've become most familiar with. In that spirit, the bracelet is 316L stainless steel, and it features quick release tabs, which you don't often see on a bracelet. It has a pin-in collar adjustment system. The clasp has an etched logo, a double push-button closure, a milled clasp interior. It also has a quick adjustment functionality utilizing that button inside there. Inside the case there beats a Sellita SW210-1 hand-wound movement decorated with CW's Kolomakone pattern, which is obscured by the case back, so I can't show it to you, but you may find it interesting to know that the movement is nonetheless decorated. The movement features 19 joules. It runs at 28,800 beats per hour and features a 42-hour power reserve. This unit is achieving approximately plus 5 seconds per day accuracy, which is exceptional. The movement also features a hacking seconds function. On top is a 120-click unidirectional diving bezel featuring a 60-minute aluminum insert with loomed pip. The hands and indexes also feature an extremely competent and functional loom. The watch has 150 meters of water resistance, and it comes with Christopher Ward's incredible 60/60 guarantee, offering 60 days of no question returns and 60 months of complete warranty coverage. The packaging is a very impressive bamboo and vinyl offering, which is nice to see at this price point. Christopher Ward is a British company. This watch is designed and sold out of England, but it is manufactured in Switzerland and, of course, features the very familiar Swiss-made identification on the bottom there. Pricing varies on this watch between 1,000 Canadian or about $700 US for the strap model, and about $1,200 Canadian or $900 US for the bracelet model, which is the configuration, as I mentioned, that it will mostly be featured here. However, I got this unit during one of Christopher Ward's incredible 50% off sales, so the watch itself on strap cost me only $500 Canadian or about $375 US. And the bracelet I purchased separately at full price for about $230 Canadian or about $175 US. So that means that this unit, as reviewed, would have cost about $730 Canadian dollars or approximately $550 US. So moving on to the lows, this section is going to be incredibly brief, and I'm going to tell you right now, this watch has very few flaws, but there are a few, and I'm going to mention. As mentioned, for review purposes, I'm mostly going to review it as though it came on this bracelet, but I would also like to give some mention to this strap that it did come on. It definitely qualifies as one of the lows. I just find it's overly stiff and waxy. It's not very comfortable. I've done quite a lot of work to break it in, and it's still quite stiff. But when it was brand new, it was seriously a major struggle. I don't know if you watched the unboxing video, but it was a serious struggle to actually just put the watch on my wrist. That's how stiff it was, and I don't think it rises to the level of the rest of the watch. Moving on to the bracelet, I can hardly say that this bracelet is deserving of real criticism, but there are a few things I'd like to see in the evolution of this bracelet. I would love to see them add a half-link option, even as an aftermarket purchase, because sometimes it's hard to get the exact right micro adjustment setting. And also another minor, complaint, it would just be that it's a pin and collar based system, and the value that you get for this bracelet for the price, it's hard to complain that they should be adding more features, but I would love to see a screw based sort of adjustment system if that was possible. And you know what? That is basically it. This watch is very hard to criticize. I don't really have anything that's distinctly critical to say about it that could qualify as a low. So we're going to have to move on now, guys. So here at Automatic Reviews, we have our lows and we have our highs. So I've added what I call our mids, somewhere in between a low and a high. It's often things that are neither bad nor good. It just really depends on you as a person. They're things that I feel like are worth mentioning. I think some of these would qualify as bad for some people and would qualify as good for other people. So rather than try to shoehorn them into a low or a high, I've created the mids category. So to talk a little bit about this watch with respect to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the logo here at 9 o'clock. Man, this, in watch circles, this Christopher Ward logo has been talked about, just an extraordinary amount. But I don't think this looks bad. I just think that some people have decided it looks bad, and then therefore they will never accept it. But I don't think it's a bad looking logo. Look, I have 3 Christopher Ward watches, and each of them has a logo in a different location. For the C7 Rapide, you only have the Twin Flags logo. For the C8, you have the new sort of style Christopher Ward logo, but it's featured at 12 o'clock instead of at 9 o'clock. But aesthetically, I like all of these watches pretty much equally. I think a lot of the people who don't like this logo have never owned a Christopher Ward watch and really just think, oh, well, why be reminded that this is some kind of a... Yeah, maybe I'm making a presumption here, but I think some of the people are sort of saying, I don't want to be reminded that this is a micro brand watch. I just want to enjoy the quality of it without thinking about the brand. I think that is part of what's going on here. And I don't think that's entirely fair. I think this watch is fantastic, and I think that this brand is fantastic, and I like seeing the name Christopher Ward on a watch that's on my wrist. And another mid is the grip on the bezel. The bezel is quite shallow. It's not extraordinarily grippy around the coin edge. And I think that some people might find it a little frustrating to operate, but I do think there are upsides to it, and among those is the fact that it doesn't get knocked from 12 very easily on its own. You don't just find the watch sitting askew and then have to rotate. It's unidirectional, so you have to go all the way around to get it centered again to satisfy our sort of perfectionist side. As a result of that, I think that it being a little tougher to move by accident, I guess intentionally or by accident, is kind of a feature for me, but I could see it being a negative for some people, so that's what qualifies it as a mid. Speaking of the bezel, it does have an aluminum insert, and to me this was a conscious decision from Christopher Ward, because at a very similar price point, they do offer diving watches with ceramic bezel. I believe they offer the aluminum bezel here because it's more in keeping with the retro aesthetic. So I think I could see someone saying, at this price I'd like to see ceramic, but on the other hand, for me, I think that they made the right aesthetic choice by going with aluminum in this case. The Arabic numerals featured at the 12 and the 6, I think could be a little bit of a mid because of the font chosen, not particularly for the 12, but I think for the 6. The loop on the 6 doesn't quite close, and I think that it's arguable that it looks kind of like a G. And for me, I really don't mind that. I think it looks quite nice. I could see this being an annoyance for somebody, so I'll mention that as a mid. I'm going to point this out as another small mid. For me, it's small. For some people, it's major. The loom is kind of this artificially aged sort of faux faux vintage lume. Some people would prefer it to be sort of more of a stark white. It's a personal taste thing. I don't think of it as a high or a low. For me, I'm neutral on it. Some people I know feel more passionately one way or the other. So, finally on the mids, this watch has no date feature, and a lot of people are going to be very happy about that. Some people just really don't like date features on watches. For me, I do find date features handy, but at the same time, setting this watch is super easy, and I don't particularly miss it. Yeah, it doesn't have a date feature that may bother you. You may like that. It's a mid. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it, guys. I've done the lows, I've done the mids, and the rest that I have to say about this watch is extraordinarily positive. So, get ready. Okay, so the highs. Honestly, I feel like there's so many positives here that I'll likely forget some. That's just a testament to how incredible this watch is. Firstly, a small mention. I think the packaging is exceptionally nice and classy, including what's inside. This is a great box, guys. Like, it's just, everything about it is just classy and pleasant, and it's superb quality. I just love having this cool box, and it's just very satisfying the way it opens and closes. It's almost like an ASMR effect. Yeah, this is a great box. I personally adore that this piece is hand wound. I love manual wind watches generally speaking, and this one functions really, really well. I like that it has a definitive stopping point when it's fully wound. And, one nice thing about manual watches in general is they kind of render the power reserve moot. It has only a 42-hour power reserve, but refilling it takes less than 30 seconds, when winding it. And in my view, it's a pleasant ritual. No watch winders or mental gymnastics about how much you moved around to account for here. You just think, oh, I have to wind it, every day, or if you haven't wound it in a while, you just wind it up and off you go. And this brings me quite naturally to the crown. The crown is great. It operates crisply. It features really nice etching. The knurling is grippy, and it's nicely done. And they made it, reasonably large, and that's great because even with larger hands, you can operate it, and the experience is pleasant and efficient, and it's a great crown. I also want to mention the bezel. I have it in the mids for reasons based on how easy it is or difficult it is to operate, but it is really nicely executed. The coin edge is quite handsome, and the click feel is very pleasant, and the alignment is also on point, which is great to see. Let's talk about this watch case. Look at it. Just look at it. It is so well designed. It hugs the wrist. It is beautifully designed and executed and crafted. It's a mixture of brush and polish, and the transitions are fantastic. It is just superbly made, and it's beautiful. I also want to talk about the crystal. The decision to use a box sapphire, which stands up proud of the face of the watch, was a good one, I think, for the retro aesthetic that they're attempting to achieve here, and achieving quite successfully. But also, I love box sapphire crystals. You get sort of the flair of this kind of, unusual or kind of more showy crystal style, which I think is really beautiful to look at. But you don't have the increased issues with reflections that you get with a domed crystal. So it's kind of the best of all worlds, in my opinion. I'm just going to mention the movement really quickly. The seconds hand sweeps along, pretty smoothly at 28,800 beats per hour, which I think is nice. This watch comes with a really, really reliable, good quality Swiss movement, and that definitely deserves a mention. The color, this khaki green really doesn't come through in pictures, but in person it looks great. That said, I believe this color variant has been removed from the lineup, and that accounts for the steep discount I got it at. It was kind of just a clearance type of a thing. A quick review of their site shows all sorts of interesting color variants, though, are available, and there's lots of options to choose from, and they're all very nice looking. Actually, originally I had wanted the blue one, and I was convinced I'd talk myself into playing it safe and getting the black one, but when the green one went on sale, I ended up getting this one, and I'm really happy that I did. I want to mention the hands as well. A combination of blasting and polishing, these baton shapes, they're really easy to read. They're very nicely loomed. Even the seconds hand is loomed at the end, and it has this attractive sort of trident motif as a counterbalance, and it's just, I think overall the hands are one of the many nice features of this watch. The quick change strap option is just phenomenal. On both the disappointing original strap, they have a quick change feature on that strap as well as on this bracelet, which again, you rarely see that. The bracelet has quick change tabs. Christopher Ward really gets behind this innovation more than just about anyone out there, and with good reason. It makes strap changes fun. I can go from this superb bracelet to this gorgeous ABP alligator strap in just a minute or two, and without risking scratching the case or fussing around with it. And while I have it on this strap, I'm just going to show it to you. I'm often just caught between which strap I want to wear this watch on. I do love this sort of watch on a bracelet, but this strap and watch combo, I don't know if it comes across on camera as well as in real life, but this is just a perfect combination of strap and watch. So here's a look at this beautiful deep stamped case back, a mixture of bead blasting and there's a little bit of brushing and there's polishing. It's beautiful. This is, in my opinion, if you're not going to do a display back, do this because it's worth it. This is just great to look at. A little bit more about the bracelet. It is so well made, so beautifully tapered. The links flow so nicely. The brushing is done perfectly. The features of the bracelet, it has this amazing clasp. It has quick adjust. The clasp itself is milled. They've spared very little expense on this, even with the quick change. I mean, this bracelet, man, I wish all bracelets were this good, top to bottom. Again, half links is all this bracelet is missing to be virtually perfect. Yeah, as a high of this watch, I'll come back to it for just a second. The 60/60 guarantee. 60 days to decide if you want to keep the watch is a very nice feature and it's generous, but 60 months, 5-year warranty, that's an incredibly long time. And when you have a watch that has a 5-year warranty, you notice it. And that doesn't, you might never have to use it, but that's the point. You have this feeling, you can have the watch for a year and think, I have 4 years of warranty left. That's a really nice feeling. It's also extremely versatile. You could wear this with a suit, but you could also easily wear it with shorts and a t-shirt. This watch can do it all. It looks great in pretty much every environment and every situation. Yeah, so the QC and the attention to detail here, especially at the price, is the typical Christopher Ward, and by which I mean it's amazing. They put a lot of far more expensive brands to shame. They offer incredible and sometimes unbelievable value in this regard. Any examination under magnification will leave you completely amazed when it comes to Christopher Ward. And the QC overall, the quality, in macro, looking up close, the little kind of cutouts for the batons are really nicely done. The batons are all sort of perfectly shaped. All the printing is done perfectly. There isn't a flaw on this dial. Any flaws you may think you see is just dust that's on top. This watch is nearly perfectly executed. And warning, they will spoil you and they will alter your standards about what to expect for your money. They've definitely done that for me. Sometimes I see watches that cost twice as much and think, this is nowhere near the standard Christopher Ward is offering. So there are a lot of really well-made watches out there, but not a lot of watches made this well for this kind of money, especially on sale. On sale, it actually becomes, it's almost absurd, honestly. And that basically, that brings me to my next point, which is just overall value. This watch is a ridiculous value. Everything on offer here at full retail price is an absolute steal. But as reviewed at the sale price that I paid for this watch, it's almost an illogically good deal. It's a sort of situation where, I honestly mean this, I almost wish I'd bought more than one as a gift or something. It just feels like when it's this good a deal, just stock up. I've never had that feeling about a watch before. Well, with the exception of the C7, which I also got 50% off, I had that feeling a little bit. So with Christopher Ward 50% off sales, you do get that feeling. But with this watch in particular, it's an exceptional value for money. There's so much to say, but at this point I could go on about the confidence-inspiring water resistance or other small features which elevate this piece further, but it'd be so much easier and more time efficient to stop here and say that this watch is so good that all you need to know is that even someone like me, that will go on for 20 minutes in a watch review if I feel it's necessary, will just wave the little white flag and say, there's no need to go on. The styling, quality, and value are extraordinary. And unless you're uncomfortable with micro brands or are one of those people who despises the 9 o'clock logo or have some other objection that I can't really see here, I would have an extremely hard time not recommending this absolutely fantastic watch to you. It is truly phenomenal. Okay, so conclusions. Should you buy this watch? If this watch is on sale, the answer to that question is yes. If this watch is not on sale, the answer to that question is yes, unless you can wait for a sale. But, you know, there are no guarantees. Like, for example, this color doesn't seem to be available anymore. So if there's a color you like and you wait for a sale, you might not get that color. And since it's so worth it at the price that they are offering it at, I wouldn't say just exclusively wait for a sale. This isn't one of those things that's only a value when on sale. It's just an absurd value when on sale. And normally it's just an incredibly great value. So yes, buy this watch. So this is the easiest review for me in terms of do I recommend this watch, because it's kind of for everybody. I think it's an amazing watch. Amazing. So yeah, buy it. Beside that, and I am not sponsored in any way, by the way, this is just, I do love Christopher Ward watches, but I'm far from sponsored. I keep giving them money. So that's not how sponsorship works. But I have to be honest, and I do think they deserve my recommendations because their products are really good and they're a great value. Yeah, I just want to talk for a quick second about why my reviews are longer than some of the watch reviews out there. And you might look at the time, 20 minutes or 25 minutes, some of them are really long, and think, oh, I don't know, that's a big time investment. But if you're thinking of spending, potentially, hundreds and thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands of dollars on a watch, that's a big decision. And I do think that if, it's worth spending 20 minutes to find out a little bit more about a watch. And I'm not disparaging anybody who makes watch reviews where they're managing to move through it a little more quickly. Some people are just really good at doing an overview very, very quickly and giving you a good sense for the watch. But there are a fair amount of watch reviews out there, which I consider to be more watch kind of overviews more than actual reviews. So they just basically rattle off the specs and tell you, yeah, it looks great, feels good on the wrist. And again, I'm not disparaging them. I follow many channels that kind of give you that type of an overview. And I think a lot of the people who make those channels work really hard and put out really good videos. But for me, when I'm going to buy a watch, I always appreciate these long videos, which are a little less easy to watch because they're time consuming and full of information. But at the same time, I feel more confident buying a watch having had a little bit more of a tour with it, having heard a few more anecdotes about what it's like to actually own it. So I do think that, I do apologize that I do go long sometimes, but there's a reason for that. It's because I really want to give you the opportunity to learn as much as you can about something you may be purchasing, And I know this went kind of long, but hey, that's what I do. I talk. I talk and I talk. I've warned you guys. So anyways, I loved having you. I loved spending time with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. I hope you love this watch as much as I do, because I don't want to feel like I oversold it, because I didn't. Actually, I can honestly say I didn't oversell it. It's amazing. So let's do this. Let's end this video finally on see you next time. Okay, bye.